Good morning, everybody. I hope this video finds you well. There's a term in the United States called Er Dai, and it develops into something also known as Er Dai, but we're going to talk about Er Dai because this is the term that those people in China refer to the American leadership with. They say they're Er Dai. It all started with Donald Trump, but it's definitely what all the people in Congress and the Senate and everybody in the United States government is referred to right now. It's what China thinks about American leadership. They are Er Dai. Spoiled rich kids. And in China it has a very, very special meaning, because in China, many of the rich kids are single kids, a single child of a billionaire. And they know of no limits, and they get into trouble, and the dad always bails them out of trouble. And their trouble can be very bad, like getting in a car accident and killing somebody. No problem, dad will bail them out. So they know no consequences. They don't know how to earn the money that they're using, because they've never worked in their life. They do not know restraints, because they can have anything they ask for. They do not know consequences, because they're always free from consequences. They are the untouchables. They are the Er Dai. And those are the people who are running the United States government right now, today. Does it look like President Biden or anyone in Congress has worked a lick of real honest work in their life? Does it look like them or their progeny has ever been punished harshly for causing some very, very bad problems? Does it look like they have ever been in charge of a situation that is out of control and they are personally going to be held responsible for it? No. They are Er Dai. And the only thing that they know is their way. That's it. And the only on switch that they have is more. It's a gas pedal and with no brakes. Er Dai. Spoiled rich kids. People over the last couple of months have been coming up with some kind of explanations as to why the United States is acting so insanely right now. And people are generally saying they can't all be insane. It must be systemic with the system. And yes, indeed, it is the system. It's a system of the wealthy oligarchs who run the United States and who have turned it into a military empire. But it's more than just that. It's the figureheads, the people who we elect, the people who are in control. They know of no limits. They are dealing right now with a situation that is completely unique. Absolutely unique. And they have no guidance on what to do. The great ones who founded the United States and got things going a long, long time ago, they're gone, they're dead. These people here are the ones that are in control, and they are dangerous people. I argue they're all psychopaths and sociopaths, because after all, how can you not be if you are grown up as a spoiled rich kid, a foo or die? Instead of working, you're given a Lamborghini for your 16th birthday. You get in trouble by raping a girl, you're carted off to Jamaica for a year or two while things die down. Spoiled rich kids. That's who's running the country right now. People who know of no consequences. They know of no consequences. And I can go on and on and on. I don't think it's even debatable right now. I don't think anybody can debate. You can like Biden, or you can like Kamala Harris. You can like anybody you want to. But their behavior is all indicative of this. They can't control themselves because they were never taught how to. The terrible twos, 2-year-olds through 5, 6, 7, those are the ages where you have to learn limits, you have to learn consequences. Foo or Dai's never learned those things. Oh, you scratched the car, no problem, we'll buy a new one. Oh, you don't want your food? That's okay. Here, eat a Snickers bar. Oh, you're crapping and pooping over the house? Don't worry, my maid will clean it up. They know of no consequences. And they are dangerous in their roles right now. The world is changing. And these foo or dies are incapable of change. All they know is what they know, which is status quo. They're unwilling to accept any change. They're unwilling to accept anything other than their absolute tyrannical control. Just like little 2 or 3-year-olds who are little tiny tyrants, these people have become the manifestation of everything that their parents did. And they're dangerous because they're in control of biological weapons. They're in charge of nuclear weapons. They're in charge of chemical weapons. They're all in charge of weapons of mass destruction. Who am I talking about? The United States. That's who. And its proxies. You know who its proxies are. They're dangerous kids right now. The days of a paddling and spanking on the behind are well past them. They went through childhood, into teenage years, into young adulthood, into adulthood, into senior adulthood, and into where they are right now without ever being punished for their mistakes. They're driving the car, guys. They're driving it off the cliff. They're doing the same old techniques for a war, anti-war, anti-nation propaganda at an insane level. Build up, pretending, saying we don't want a war, pretending that they don't want a war, and then all of a sudden, whap, they're going to have a war. I swear to God, if China or Russia allows this to happen, then they deserve what comes next. But they're not allowing it to happen. They will not allow it to happen. And so it's going to be the paddling to end all paddlings. It's going to be pretty brutal. Sorry to say. Wish I didn't have to say it. But I'm saying it. Within China, eventually, there's an ending to a Fu Er Dai. Typically, they die. They're in one car wreck too many. The Ferrari is just speeding along the road and they die through an accident. Another thing that happens is they die through drug overdose. That's pretty common. Another thing that happens is that they do something very badly in a place where the father or the parents have no influence. For instance, there was a couple of Hong Kong Fu Er Dais that went into mainland China, tried bribing the police the way that they would normally bribe the police in Hong Kong, and that didn't work. Tried to pay off the judges like they pay off the judges in Hong Kong. That doesn't work. So while they weren't killed, they're being organ harvested and working at hard labor, so it might as well be just as good as death. I know of no Fu Er Dais that passed the Fu Er Dai phase and survived. It's not publicized, but I'm sure there are a few. Every indicator is that Fu Er Dais, when they grow up, become, through their parents' connections, become rich and powerful and end up in government. Or if not in government, on the boards of very, very large companies. So I argue that the Fu Er Dais that do survive the threat of death end up either being in government or on the boards of very large companies like Hunter Biden. And that's what you have in the United States today. When I attended school, when I attended university, there were many, many Fu Er Dais from New York City. Of course, they weren't Asian. They were, most parts, we called them Japs, Jewish American princesses. Spoiled girls of very, very wealthy New York socialites. I knew a number of them. They all had a certain behavior, a couple of certain behaviors. They reminded me of Fran from the television show. They really did, I swear to God. On a personal level, they were okay. Sort of like a bossy older sister, I suppose you would say. But they knew of no consequences. They did not know consequences. They did not know what it meant to go without, and they did not understand what it's like when money is tight, because they were never in situations where money was tight. I dated a few attractive gals. I had some fun with them. Broke up. One met her father, and nice guy. He was a doctor, a very, very well-known, prestigious doctor in New York City with a very, very extensive practice. He was a really nice guy, down to earth. The impression I got from him was just a really good guy. Real down-to-earth, good guy. His daughter, different. So you can't say it's an inherited situation. I think everybody is individual. Everybody is certainly individual. Obviously, the backgrounds of a Fu Er Dai differ from the backgrounds of their parents. If the parents wanted to create a chip off the old block, a carbon copy of themselves, then they have to give the child the same experiences that they had, or as close as possible as they've had. And most of them had gone through periods of hardship. And that is the last thing that they want to happen to their loved ones. I don't blame them. I don't blame them. I really don't blame them. But look what you have. Here you have. In the United States today, there are no self-made oligarchs running the country. You could say that Donald Trump was. But even the Chinese called him a Fu Er Dai. You have to get away from the bullshit, the propaganda of what Rambo is. Face the facts. He's a Hollywood fiction, doesn't exist, never did exist. He's a composite of many different stories, all pieced together with various sections removed for sakes of simplicity and to heighten this narrative. And that's the truth with everything in the United States today, isn't it? All right, so you've got spoiled rich kids running the United States. What does that mean? Well, since they don't know limits, they don't know no. They cannot stand the other kids in school. If you have ever gone to an academy or a school where other rich kids attended, you know they must be number one, period. All the other kids are just wallpaper. The humanistic dynamic of what is going on in the world today is that of an elite prep school. And you people, you are the wallpaper that the rich kids are running roughshod over. So yeah, you can vote for the next class president. They're all going to be Fu Er Dais. You can put yourself on the ballot, but that ballot will disappear mysteriously. Or if you do manage to get on because it's controlled by the school authorities, you can be rest assured that other Fu Er Dais are counting the ballots. You will never, ever get in a position of power in a prep school unless you are a Fu Er Dai. It's fact of reality, people. Why do you think it doesn't exist today in the real world? The only countries that are aligning with the United States today are its proxy nations. And its proxy nations, every single one of the proxy nations is being ruled by the respective Fu Er Dais from those nations. Same as the Korea, same as Japan, same as Australia. None of them. Not one. Look at France, look at Germany, look at Canada. Not one of them are real, from nothing, work, make yourself a successful person. They're all, every single one of them, member of the club. They're all Fu Er Dais. They're all there. So what's going to happen? Well, people, bad things are going to happen. These people know no off switch. The only way you can turn off the system that they control is to destroy it itself. You have to get a gang of bikers and beat the living crap out of the Fu Er Dai. And you have to defang it so that the parents will not seek retribution. It's only one way to do that, guys, and that's massive, massive destruction. A complete message and a warning to all the other Fu Er Dais. I don't know what China has planned for the West. I don't know what Russia has planned for the West. But if you think it's going to be the same game, and you think that it's going to be just a bigger Afghanistan or a bigger prep for war in Syria or whatever you may think, it's going to be another Ukraine over in Taiwan, I got news for you people. China does not play. They've been very kind warning you. Which brings me up to another subject. You probably weren't aware of this, right? The big massive parade of DF-17s. It's all over the Chinese social media. I must have gone through 5 of these videos yesterday. It's just hundreds of these things running on trucks. Hundreds of them. 5 abreast, hundreds of lines of these things. Mass-produced hypervelocity nuclear weapons. There is nothing that can defend against them. Nothing. From the moment you press the button, the target is destroyed in under 5 minutes, anywhere in the world. If that doesn't raise any cockles, then it should. This happened at the same time when the latest test of the American version of a hypervelocity missile failed yet again. Even if America passed its tests and prototypes, it still would take years to manufacture these products. And those years give China breathing space with a big enough stick to warn the Fu Er Dais not to do anything. Of course, warnings are useless because they're stupid. They don't understand that they're up against a blank wall here. They do not understand because they've never seen consequences. But these consequences are not the kind of consequences that they're ever going to be able to understand or expect, which is why you're seeing all these new leaders coming in. They're going to double down on Ukraine, and there's going to be this quad fighting and defending Taiwan. Taiwan is part of China. Jesus. Look on a goddamn map, will you? Jeez. Actually, the history is pretty interesting. Back at the time when Taiwan became a part of China, all the people from the Guangdong area, the Fujian, they moved there. So that's why the Taiwanese language has such a strong Fujian dialect. And but when they were doing it, they had these funny, whacked out hats. You know, the leadership had these whacked out hats. It's kind of weird. For me, you know, I mean, these powdered wigs that people used to play, you know, when the United States government, you know, it turned into reality from the British government. They were wearing these powdered wigs and stuff like that. It seems pretty weird. But you got to remember, guys, Taiwan was part of China from way before that. I mean, hundreds of years before that. Hundreds. Taiwan was part of China. Jiminy Christmas. I don't know what war, you know, the UK was fighting over, but it sure as hell, you know, America at that time was just populated by redskin Indians. There's hardly nothing in the United States. Anyways, it's just interesting history bits. By the way, I just saw article just yesterday. Most Americans polled don't know how many stars are in the American flag. Most of them don't know who the United States rebelled against in 1776. The dumbing down of America is complete. That's why you have such stupid, insane media saying such stupid, insane things. Vault 7 doesn't have to work too hard, huh? Because the stupidity is pretty goddamn rampant. So, couple that with this insane leadership, you might as well just, shave off Biden's hair, whatever remains, put a monocle in his eye, have him talk with his pinky in the air, maybe put on a Hillary Clinton black suit. What do you say? Oh, and don't forget the white fluffy cat that he pets, right? That's America today. How does it fare for you? Not good. If I were you, I would get out of the West because these people are driving a car straight off a cliff and they're drunk. You got a good life in front of you. Don't allow an insane leadership to destroy it. And that, people, is this brief little chat. I don't know if you got anything out of it except to understand what a Er Dai is. Er Dai. Spoiled rich kid of super billionaires. That's what it is. America today. Oh, Lord help us. And people, before I go, one thing to remember. How you handle this situation. You can take all the information in the world, but it means nothing unless you do something. And what you do is based upon your own individual circumstances. You decide what's right and appropriate for your circumstances and then take the correct and rational actions. And at that, people, I want you to know, well, you know what I know. I believe that you'll make the right decision, whatever it may be, for your special individualized case. Because, people,